how can we hold kids who maybe would very easily want to just like kind of sit back and say, I'm going to let the curriculum kind of pass me by. Like, how do we get those kids to demonstrate their learning? Like, and I don't know, like, there's no good way to say, like, you just have to dive in, right? Like, we're always going to be afraid of it. Like, there's always going to be questions. But like with me, when I went to Choice Base, it was like the first time I just tried like one project, and then I tried a couple more projects, and then I went too far and did too much. And so I had to reel it back in and say, whoa, wait a second, my kids aren't ready for this. There's always that push and pull. And I think, if we're having teachers be, master level teachers or doctorate level teachers, we have to, as administrators have to trust that we're going to know that push and pull to know where to pull our kids.
Yeah, that brings up another question for me, which is, so what would be like your response to that, right? Like, somebody's, comes up and says, well, if everybody's doing something different, how do teachers assess that, and how do we make it, like, quote unquote fair? And what would be your response to that? Like, how have you treated that in your classroom?
Well, I think there's like basic levels of skills that you have to master, right? And I can't speak to elementary, like, because I don't teach elementary kids, and I look at my own personal kids and I'm like, okay, you have to learn how to read. Like, there's certain skills that probably have to be taught, like with basic assessments. Like, you can't get around that. Like, you still have to have spelling tests and you still have to have reading tests. But at some point when you hit middle and high school, like, there's basic skills that you can meet, and you can show that through either project-based learning, or you can show it through, essay writing, or, all that stuff. And if you can demonstrate and start using that, the moment you start applying it and using it regularly, that we know that skill has been met. Like, that's like Ken O'Connor, and I can't think of some of the other big names, but we know that those skills, once you're starting to use that and able to teach that to the next person, then you surpass that. So taking a multiple choice M-step test isn't gonna, do anything to kind of push that. We just have to decide what are those skills.